Welcome to Accelerated Math. We're going to look at solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. And here it is right here. It's that negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. That's where you're going to find your x value. So when you look at an equation like this is quadratic because of that little x squared right there. We are going to solve this. We're going to try to find out what value of x makes this statement true. Now this one's already been set to 0, which is really I call it the 3S process. And the first process or step in this is to set to 0. Okay, you need the equation to be equal to 0. So if it's not equal to 0, we'll see a couple that aren't, then you've got to get it equal to 0. Once you've got it set to 0, then we're going to look at substituting. And what I mean by substitute is we're going to take the a value, the b value, and the c values, and that's just where we label the a goes with whatever number or coefficient is in front of the x squared term. The b value is whatever number is in front of the x term, the coefficient, and the c value is just the constant, the number that's out here by itself. So once we label those a, b, and c, we're going to substitute them into our quadratic formula. And once we do that, so we're just going to put b in here for b, everywhere that b occurs. And we're going to put a, likewise, into every place that a is. And we're going to put c in over here at c. And then we're going to do the final step, which is simplify. Alright, nice handwriting today. So we're going to simplify that. So let me erase all that and we'll get started on this one. Okay, so we've got our ABC values, A, B, and C. And what's important there is that you gather not only the number but the sign in front of it. So that b, I got that negative 8. Alright, so we're going to fill it in. Negative b. Now notice that b is negative, so it's kind of like negative 8, which of course is really positive 8. Then we're going to go plus or minus the square root of b squared, so negative 8 squared, but I'm going to put parentheses around here because it's important, especially if you're putting in a calculator, minus 4 times a, which is 4, times c, which is a positive 1. Extend that square root symbol. All divided by 2 times a. And of course a in this case was 4. Alright, so now we've got to simplify this. It looks pretty complicated, and we're going to work from, in the order of operations, we're going to deal with what's under this radical first, because it's kind of an assumed parentheses under here. So let's go ahead and first thing I'm going to do is change that to plus 8. So that's a positive 8 plus or minus, and let's see what we can simplify there. We got negative 8 squared, that's 64. Minus, and then we've got 4 times 4, which is 16, times the 1 over here, which keeps it at 16. And then we're going to divide this by 8, and where to get that? 2 times 4. Alright, continuing on. 8 plus or minus the square root of, now 64 minus 16 is 48, and then we're going to divide this by 8. Now, if we simplify the square root of 48, let's see, that's 16 times 3, so that's going to be 8 plus or minus 4 root 3. You can do that with a calculator, or you can simplify it by factoring what's under the square root. And then we still have the 8 under here. Now it's time to break this out. Well, you'll notice that the answers up here, they have plus or minus in it. That plus or minus really just means that there are two different answers. There's 8 plus 4 root 3 divided by 8, and there's 8 minus 4 root 3 divided by 8. So we're going to leave it like this because the multiple choice answers have it that way. Now the final thing we need to do is reduce, and I want you to notice that with the plus and minus sign in here, this 8 is goes into both of these. It goes with both of those terms. So we're going to reduce everything. The common factor between the 4, 8, and 8 is 4. So we're going to reduce by dividing everything by 4. 4 goes into that once, 4 goes into this twice, and 4 goes into that twice. So we end up with a new equation, expression 2 plus or minus 1 root 3. I don't need to put the 1 there, over 2. And that is our final answer, 2 plus or minus root 3 divided by 2. Alright, let's go on to the next one. Here we go. I told you that you had to have it equal to 0 first. and you'll notice this one is not equal to 0, so let's work through that. So we've got x squared equals negative 7x minus 1, and let's just get everything on this side. We'll keep our x squared positive, although it doesn't matter. You can pull it to either side, but I'm going to add 7x to both sides, and I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and that gets it equal to 0. So what I did was I plus 7x here, I had to plus 7x here. They don't go, they're not like terms, so I have to leave it x squared plus 7x. I had to plus 1 over here. I also had to plus 1 over here, and this is where I'm getting this all on the side, but it's equal to 0. Now, the second step was to label my ABC values and plug those in, or I use the word substitute. So I've got positive 7 for B. Notice the A value has no value out here. It's a 1 because it's an understood 1 that goes with that x squared. Alright, here's our formula. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Negative b, this time b is positive, so negative b is really negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 7 squared minus 4 times a value was 1 and the c value was 1 also. And then we're going to divide that by 2 times the a value, which is 1. Alright, let's come on over here. Negative 7 plus or minus square root of 49 minus 4 times 1 is all 4 divided by 2. I'm just simplifying things as I go. Negative 7 plus or minus square root of 45 divided by 2. And let's see, this comes out to 3 root 5. So equals negative 7 plus or minus, I'm simplifying this square root of 45 to 3 root 5 over 2. And I think that's as far as we can go. I'm looking for things that divide equally into these, but I'm not finding it. Let me check my math on this. Well, I'm a little surprised here because 45 is 9 times 5. And if you split 9 out, or you look at 9, it's 3 times 3, so that is 3 root 5. I'm a little surprised to see this. What am I missing? Alright, 2a, because I'm not finding the simplified answer. They left it unsimplified here, so I guess I've got to go with this. It was the negative 7 plus or minus, so you see the comma here. They've got it separated into two things. I'm a little surprised to see them not having simplified this square root thing. So anyway, watch out for that, I guess. It's the first time I've seen that one. Alright, let's see. I think I got one more after this one. So if you want to speed ahead, if you're feeling comfortable with this, but go ahead and look at that last one. It's kind of a unique one. But anyway, for this one, I got my ABC values. It's already set to 0, so I'm going to start substituting things in. Negative b is going to turn into negative 8, or positive 8, plus or minus b squared. Again, I'm going to throw some parentheses around there. Minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 6, divided by 2 times the a value. Now, let's see. So we got 8, because that was negative, plus or minus the square root of 64 minus 24. Minus 24, because that's minus 4 times 1, negative 4, times 6, which is negative 24. And then divided by, simplifying that, 2. Equals 8 plus or minus the square root of, what's that, 40 divided by 2. Okay, just like last time they didn't have it simplify it all the way down, but this one they do. So 40 is like 4 times 10, so the square root of 4 is 2, so it gets out. The root 10 stays in there. It's all divided by 2. Now I'm just looking at greatest common factor between the 8 and the 2's. Of course it's 2, so I'm going to reduce everything by dividing by 2 and dividing that by 2. So I end up with 4 plus or minus 1 root 10, don't need to put the 1 there, divided by 1, don't need to put that there either, so this is my final answer, 4 plus or minus 2 root 10. Alright, going on to the last one here. Okay, now I told you this was kind of an interesting one. It's already set to 0. I'm listing my ABC values. I want you to note that the ABC values this time, they're just using variables seems kind of strange. I think the point of this is just to make sure that you understand and recognize the quadratic formula. So let's do the substitution of variables with variables. So negative b is going to be negative r plus or minus square root of r squared minus 4 times a, which in this case is q. Guess I don't need these parentheses here. C, which is now s divided by 2a, which is now q. So that's what we're looking for. The main thing is they want you to know that this division bar is going under all of it, so it's not these. The denominator is not in the square root. And let's see what else we can rule out. It was supposed to be negative r, so it can't be these two. So it is b over here, as you already probably figured out. All right, have fun with that quadratic formula.